Because when you're confident and you know who you are, no one can take that from you. And it shows up before you even enter the room.
Hmm.
And so and so for me, it was learning, girl, if you don't stop settling, and honestly, it was my husband. He told me, he said, why are you selling? Because I would apply for roles that I could do. I would apply for roles that were comfortable, but the roles that would challenge me, I had stopped applying for those because I had been told no so much.
Welcome to Lovely Esteem. I'm Lovely, the auntie you always wanted, the sister girlfriend you didn't know you needed, honey. You got to have self love to have self esteem. And here we know that God don't make no junk. So we're going to sit down, talk about it, and see how we can fix it, baby. Let's do it.
Hey guys, this is Lovely with Lovely Esteem, and today we get to speak to Miss LaShawnda Rodgers. Miss Rodgers is a CEO, founder, DEI practitioner. She is a tech lady. You know how I feel about femtechs, just working it out. I feel like we're going to have one of the best conversations because she is so focused on helping people grow. And it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, it is just something in her that wants to see people be the best versions of themselves. So please enjoy the podcast. Nope, because we're going to miss a whole conversation doing this. Okay, all right. Hey guys, this is Lovely with Lovely Esteem, and welcome to the Healing Through Conversations podcast. We've been offline talking, and let me tell you something. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good because we both got the same face, so we're gonna have to fix our face the whole time we're doing this. We're gonna get it together. But Miss LaShawnda Rodgers, the reason why I was excited to speak with her was because I love talking to people who we can speak the same language sometimes. And I think when you are in different aspects of your career, you can meet or have the privilege of meeting people who are leaders, not only in their community, but they're also trying to be progressive about their communities. They're forward thinking. And when I read your bio, I just was in awe of the plethora of different ways you infuse yourself into many communities. It wasn't just one thing, it was multiple things in multiple ways that you introduce yourself into the DEI space, into the tech space, which I love a good tech woman. Come through, baby. Coaching, consulting, technology. I said, what can't you do? And she's gonna tell me probably a recipe about a pie or something. I feel like that's what we can talk about today. But thank you so much for being on the podcast. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. You are too much. I am LaShawnda. I am the founder of Rodgers Global Leadership Consortium. We use AI, data, consulting, and coaching to create equitable, thriving work environments. So, what the heck is that? We want you to want to come to work. So, I want you to love your job, and I want your leaders to treat you with respect. I want the policies to make sense. I want every employee to have equal access to resources to grow their career without burnout. And I want every employee to know how to negotiate their salary and live their best life. That's what I'm here for.
Let's just have a conversation. I just had to negotiate my salary for like 3 weeks. And I said, listen, I'm not selling you what I can do. I know what I can do. I'm not selling you on that. This is my number. You guys work it out. I'll see you. I'm gonna keep working until you figure it
Mhm.
out because we're not gonna do is pretend like it's not happening.
Yes.
It makes such a big difference in how you see that. But so what made you get into this space of helping the employees? Because really what you, I mean, yes, you're helping the employers, but really you're helping the laymen's, the staff, the people who are really the meat of the company. What made you really get into that space?
So what I'm really doing is I'm equipping everyone with they need to soar. That's our motto, equipping leaders to soar. And so a leader is not just an executive, a CEO. To me, everybody's a leader. They just don't know it. They
Mm.
just need someone to take their hand and say, baby, I got you. Let me help you. Let me show you how to lead effectively. And so I got into this role because I've always been asked to lead something. If there was something coming down the pipeline in change management, hey, LaShawnda can do it. Hey, LaShawnda is great with people. She's great at taking difficult situations and simplifying it. And so I've always been asked to train others and to help them to understand complicated tasks. And so honestly, I went through a lot in a lot of the roles I was in corporate, with being the only Black woman, with the CEO and the executive, with being the highest paid woman. And I didn't even know I was the highest paid. That's a whole nother episode, and but being treated differently and then seeing the disparities that others were having made me want to do something different. And I knew, because of my knowledge and access, I could help everybody that wanted to grow to become their best self, and then do it unapologetically with confidence, knowing they are the best thing since sliced bread. I think too many times we're told, don't boast yourself up. You're not the best thing. Oh, I am the best thing since sliced bread, and this is why I'm the best thing. And so I think when I realized who I am and who God says I am, everything for me shifted. So that's really how I came down this path. I got tired of being told I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't smart enough. Then one day I realized I was enough, and that was history. So,
As they say, that is one of the best things you can do for yourself. When you get to the I am enough stage of your life, it's another wall that you knock down. It's the glass ceiling that you break, because now you aren't into performative art. And I think that that's where a lot of people get stuck, being of service to people and not knowing what your worth is outside of what you can provide for other people, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't provide it for yourself, you don't really know what it feels like. You don't know if you like it, you don't like it, you don't know your time value. And I'm huge on time. Look, how much time are you going to waste that I could be doing something that I enjoy? And if I don't enjoy this, or if you don't enjoy this, how much longer are you going to stay in this space? Because it is literally playing a part of how your organs work. It's playing a part of your mental health, your physical health, your financial health. And those things are way more important than being the performative artist at your job.
And it impacts your productivity.
Yeah.
If you're not well, you cannot represent the organization. Like, when I mean not well, I mean my head would hurt on a weekend when I would think about coming to work. I would sit in a parking lot with throbbing migraines, sick, and it was my job. That's how toxic my environment was. And so, and they had me thinking I could never make more than XYZ. But outside people were trying to pay me double what I was making. And so you see the contradiction. Inside, I'm not enough. You're never going to make this. Outside, oh, we want to pay you 150 an hour. We want to pay you XYZ. And so it's like, okay, either it's them or it's everybody else. And so eventually you say, okay, everybody isn't wrong. Right. It's where I'm at. And then you have to make a decision to stay in that hostility and hope and pray things are going to turn, or you have to decide, I'm worth more than this. I have value, and then decide to do what's necessary. And in my case, I decided to leave, and then to be the change that others need to empower other women and men to decide to be better for themselves and for their communities. So.
That was a hug. That was a hug, girl. Look, we're gonna start making t-shirts. They're gonna be like, every time I turn around, she's talking about t-shirt. Honestly, because I think like I 27, 28 years in the corporate space. Mm-hmm. And I used to say to people all the time, it took me 10 years in the corporate space to become a Black woman. Not even me. Just a Black woman. And then I learned how to be me in that space, because you were only getting 75, 80% of who I was, because I was really focused on being this character, playing this part, being this mask person to be able to fit into these spaces, right? And it was so interesting. My breakthrough was having natural hair. It sent them over the edge. Like, how dare you not have your hair's not straight anymore. We don't understand how your hair went from straight to not straight. I say, it's called a wig. We do know this. We're hello, anybody? But no, honestly, it was remarkable how my career path changed when I became myself in my job, period.
That walk It's something about knowing who you are. You walk differently. It's like you just glide in and win.
Mhm.
And so when I walk in any room, oh baby, they know I'm here. Yes. And I teach my clients to walk in every room. Like I want them to know that you are there before you even hit the door. But oh, what is that? Oh, she's coming. Oh, he's coming. Yeah, baby, he coming through the door. And he said, "Why are you settling?" He said, "Why can't you be a director? Why can't you be a CEO? Why can't you be a leader?" And I would say, you know what? You are right. And so I remember Amazon, no, it was Meta. Meta called me for a job paying $200 an hour. I was like, and I said, me? They was like, yeah, we want to hire you as a consultant to help us with the goggles they have.
Mhm.
That they wanted me to be on that project. So I'm a PMP, so they wanted me to come in and manage the whole team. And they was building it. They wanted me to build the process and all of that. And I was like, oh, I'm up here making $90,000, and here they try to pay me $200 an hour, and I bust out laughing. I was like, you know what? I ain't selling no more. That's it for me. And everything for me, it shifted. But again, it took God using my husband to remind me of who I was. And then he sent opportunities to say, knock, knock, girl, we trying to pay you $250. You know, you can get 3,000, you get 5,000 for an hour. Like doors began to open, but it was when I began to realize what I had to offer. And then I was ready to walk out. I remember the most embarrassing thing for me, if I can be honest, and I hope you don't mind me going here.
No, please. I told you, let's go. Keep it real.
I didn't know I was the highest paid person. I didn't know that. Apparently somebody found out because they were snooping. I
Mm.
was applying for another role, and the person that hired me started acting real shady. She stopped talking to me. She stopped hanging out with me. I noticed because I managed all the stakeholder relationships. I was a farmer at that time. And so I was the key person. I did all the TAs, all the therapeutic areas. I managed the real money. I did the dashboards for the executives.
Ooh.
And so I was that chick. And so I was applying for another role, and I noticed I had went to this lady who I thought was my ally. Thought I could trust her because she said, I'm here for you if you need anything. And when I told her what I was making, I didn't know. I thought she made more than me because she was there before me. And I found out I made more than her. And she started acting funny. Next thing I know, I'm no longer in stakeholder meetings. My meetings with the shareholders were being removed. So everyone's going to meetings, CEO, the vice president. I'm still in my office. Where's everyone going? They was going through trainings, everybody but me. And I remember the icing on the cake was they took a company picture without me. Who does that?
Petty
Everybody
people.
had everybody had the shirt. Went outside. I could see them outside my office taking pictures. And then they came inside and had a party. And guess where they had the party at?
By your desk.
They said it right in front of my office. The table, the cakes, the food, so I can watch everybody come and eat. And so some of the other people would come out of my office and say, LaShawnda, why are you not eating? I said, oh, I wasn't invited. And so they would go and bring me food. And somebody would say, if you don't get out here, you are a leader. Why are you not out here? And so people who were not executives would bring me food. They would talk to me because they would see how I was treated because I was the only Black woman. And I was helping customer service. I was helping analysts, teaching them VR lookups. I was teaching them how to do lookups, assessments, Salesforce, and everything. Because I believe that if you give people opportunity, they can grow. But if you don't give them that chance, they can never become. And
Yeah.
they wanted to keep them on a call center. And so I was a threat because I was helping people. And so the retaliation was to limit my access so I could feel not included and then eventually want to leave. And I did leave eventually, so girl, that was the most humiliating thing ever.
But that was and things that I had to learn for myself. But that was your blessing in disguise.
It was, girl, because now I'm bleeding. And you know what's funny? God is so funny. Oh my gosh. So one company did me wrong, girl. They paid me $25,000. They paid for me to get executive coaching. And so when I tell you that I'm laughing because I didn't realize the company had did that. I just got an email saying your company was chosen to receive this big grant and they're giving you all this access to trainings and workshops. When I went back and looked, I said, I used to work there. That's the same company that was holding my work, mistreating me, being negative. Girl, when I tell you, if you just stay professional, it comes back. That's all I'm gonna say. So when I tell you, I just be laughing. I'm like, you don't even know. It's gonna come right on back.
I tell people all the time, when when you wish for something, you pray, you send your energy out there, the way you get it back, it's not always, I mean, like, God's sense of humor is not like, no, no, no. I mean, he's gonna drop a joke on you and you're gonna be like, really? That's how we going to do it? Because what felt like failure to you was your lesson.
Yeah.
So that next time when you came back out with that blessing, you knew how it felt. You had this understanding of it was a new power that you were given. And you were able to walk in that space, not only in a, you need coaching now, but like, it's me, baby. Like he said, I'm not going to just put you in front. We want your name. They're going to look at that name and be like, who? Wait a minute. Who's this? Like you had to come to me for what you needed. When I was inside of the building, you had the prize in the building, but you needed to go outside of the building so that we could get you because we needed you out here. That's what the problem was. They was like, you in this building, we don't like the way this building works. The frequency ain't good for LaShawnda. But that is how I feel about whenever anybody either has to leave the job or start a new career. I'm like, listen, what have you learned from that last job? What did you learn that you can take with you? Or this may be your opportunity with severance pay to finally take that 2-week course that you've been wanting to take so bad, but you didn't have the time to take it. What is that course that's going to set you in line for your passion and your purpose to align? What are we doing? Like, how are you making it work? And I think my personality, because I don't attach emotion to a lot of the logic, I'm like, hey, I understand that this is hard, but how can we utilize all of this anger? What can we do to make it really just dig in? And sometimes people be like, hey, you sound mean. And I'm like, I know I do. But I see the beauty in you. I see the strength in you. I see that you're still fighting. You haven't given up yet. So why are you still fighting? Why not fight harder for something that you love versus something you're settling for?
Yeah. And that crying, like so crying is your way of your body healing. It's a form of healing. So I'm like, cry, but you can't stay there.
No.
Give yourself a time and then get up. And then you show them that they need you. You kill it so hard that they have to see you. And I know for a fact, all them companies see me. They can't help but see me. I'm always tagged on LinkedIn. And so I know they see me, and I'm like, and I know, because I had one manager to tell me, she said, we can't keep anybody since you're gone. I told her that day, because her manager was jealous of me. And it was over some petty stuff, because I had an MBA, which is dumb. Stupid stuff, because I had degrees and a family. She couldn't have a family, couldn't have degrees, stupid stuff. And I remember telling her boss, and I said, just know that I'm gonna be fine. I said, I'm gonna walk out of here and have another role, and I'm gonna do great. And I said, but because what y'all are doing is undermine it, I said, I promise you, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. And I remember the manager calling me months later crying, oh, we can't keep anybody, and it's just not the same. I said, I told you though. I told you. When you sat there with HR smiling, and my manager was crying because she didn't want it, but she was the sister. She was the sister over the whole department, but she had bosses who were above her, who were friends with the lady that was jealous of me. And so they outranked her. And so she called me crying. I was like, it's okay. I'm doing good. Look, I got a role making double what I was making. I said, I'm good. And so we just got to be patient, because now I'm able to work with companies who value people. They want their employees to grow. They want to know, how can we retain our workforce? And then if I'm in the company, how can I grow? How can I be well so I can take care of my family and myself? And so all my experiences have led me to this space. And I am the most fulfilled. I love my life. I'm not complaining. Like it may not be the way I would love it to be all the time, but I'm there with my kids, and then the impact when I see people say, I didn't know I could start a business. I have a person now, this lady came to me looking for another job. That's how she got with me. I want to grow my career. I'm a software engineer. I had one conversation with her in the first 20 minutes. I said, no, you don't. I said, you want to start a business? No, I don't. And so we did my assessments that I do. We talked. What, let me tell you, in 2 weeks, she done got her business name, her logo. She done got commercial partnerships, like with actual brands. And she has clients. She's confident. She's been on podcasts now. She's on shows. She is killing it. And she tells me, I never knew I could become this person. I said, but I knew it when I met you. I knew it was in you. It just had to be poured out of you. And so it's moments like that that means so much more to me than any dollar amount that anybody could give, because it's a life transformation. So,
And let me tell you something. You are what I want people to understand when I talk about safe spaces, right? Safe spaces aren't actual spaces, right? It's people, it's relationships, it's tribes, it's coaches, it's mentors who see the best in you and want the best for you. They want more for you than they want for themselves, because that's the way it works when you really see people. You see a light in them, you see an energy about them, their vibe is good. You're like, you know what? I want to go the extra mile to make sure you make it to this space, because you don't believe in yourself right now because you've been told that you needed to be humble. You've been told that you're conceited. You've been told that you act too smart. You're acting white. You're not part of all the things, right? I know I hit a nerve because that nerve used to, it used to like, it pulled my teeth out. It just would make me crazy. And I had to realize, even for myself, like, yo, you wouldn't tell you that you're bad. You wouldn't tell you that you're ugly. You wouldn't tell you that you can't do anything. So when those voices start to come, know that from somebody else who's not paying your bills. They're not in here dressing you. They're not making sure that you're good at night. Like, figure out what voice is talking to you. Is somebody else's voice? Are you listening to the voices of other people, or are you really listening to your intuition yourself?
And I think that's why we also need sponsors. We need sponsors and mentors. And so when companies call me, I ask, do you have a program for sponsors? Every company should have a sponsor. A sponsor is someone that speaks for you when you're not in the room. That should be a higher ranking person that is saying, I know Tamika, I know Sarah. I'm watching Sarah from afar. She does XYZ. And you also need allies, people that don't look like you, to speak for you in those rooms, who can say, she did this, she increased sales by 55%. You need mentors, someone that has walked the path you're walking now, that can take your hand and guide you along the way. And so all three of those are so important when you're looking to grow. And so one thing, that's why, like right now, I am a Dell mentor. Dell Technologies brought me on earlier this year for their entrepreneur program. So I mentor entrepreneurs with growing their businesses. Because I believe that when you're successful and when you're blessed, you should go back and pull another sister up or another brother. And so that's how we increase wealth. Wealth is not always financial. For me, it is knowing I help someone else to believe in themselves in a way that they never imagined. And now they have that, oh my gosh, this is me. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I knew it all along. Yeah, I got you. That's what we need more of, people cheering for each other instead of being jealous and I'm not going to help her. No, why not? Why not? Why we all can't go back and share some wisdom, a resource and tool that doesn't cost $1 million to help someone else. It's that simple.
You hit something that, like, it's my motto for life. Generational wealth isn't just money, right? It is knowledge. It's community. It's somebody believing in you. It's somebody believing you when you said something bad happened and giving you a pathway to deal with the harm, deal with your traumas, deal with your successes, learn how to deal with you. I mean, because we're all walking around these spirits inside of these bodies with hormones and life changes and relationship changes and job changes, but having people who see you, who allow you to be human, who give you the space to fail, who pick you back up, brush you off, sometimes give you some little aggression. Hey, listen, you did this twice.
Mhm.
Twice I saw you do the same thing. You do it a third time,
Mhm.
me and you.
Mhm.
But you need that aggression. But you also need people who have gentleness and patience and grace, who will tell you, hey, I see you keep doing the same thing. Let me we're gonna go to lunch. I'm gonna talk to you about how you cannot do that thing again.
Mhm.
You feel this way, I want you to call me. You do not make a move until you call me,
Mhm.
so we can talk about it and see how we can change. And I feel like that's where you come into play, like
Mhm.
someone with your wisdom, personality, and also with your heart. That's where you step in.
I love people, and so people see my successes a lot. I'm on so many podcasts. LaShawnda, you're 45 and you're 40 and under, and you're this and that. And I said, I have a lot of wins in the public eye. I said, but what people don't know, for every win I've lost. I said, you're looking at a person who, oh, I'm very successful. If you look at like the stages I'm on,
Mm.
the contracts, the people, I said, but internally, I have a major loss because my family doesn't talk to me.
Mm.
And this is me being 100% candid and honest. You want it real? This is really to get.
Yeah, look, give it to me.
Even though I'm doing so many great things, people always comment on my greatness. My mom doesn't talk to me. I don't have a relationship with my dad. None of my sister doesn't really talk to me. My uncles, no one reaches out. I'm never invited to a holiday gathering. I'm not invited to Christmas, 4th of July, Thanksgiving. Everybody gets together and have a good time
Mm.
but me. And so I was listening to Pastor Mike Jr. He talked about when you're winning, and he was like, sometimes when you're winning, people can't stand it. And so they're disassociate themselves from you. And so he said, a lot of times us that are called for greatness, our family does not receive us or they won't support us as much because of where God is taking us. And that
Mm-hmm.
has been my journey. Like, I would love my mom to visit my kids. She's never been to a birthday party. My oldest son is 18, never been to a birth, never been to a birthday party. She didn't even come to his senior graduation this year. And that hurt.
Yeah.
And she hasn't even called me. And so, yeah, I'm winning, but that's why my heart for others is so strong because I want everybody to know that if nobody else sees you, I see you. And I don't just see you, I want to give you tools and resources to equip you for your next level. And a lot of times, I don't charge everybody. I have companies who pay me because I'm B2B, but then
Mm-hmm.
I have consumers who are career goers, some are unemployed. And they're saying, can I pay you 50? Yeah, you can pay me 50. And then sometimes God says, don't charge them, and so I think because all the trauma and abuse I've been through from people, from companies, my heart now is so big that I want everyone to know if no one else is here for you, I'm clapping for you, but then I'm not just going to clap. I'm going to take your hand and show you how to get to your next level. And so, yeah, I'm winning, but I've also lost, so.
Yes, and that's real talk because I was having this conversation with my best friend about healing. And
Mhm.
I was saying how the healing journey can make you feel so lost and
Mhm.
lonely. Because in order for you to heal, you have to reboot. And
Yes.
sometimes when you're rebooting yourself, it knocks off certain people from your network, right?
Mhm.
And you start this journey and you're looking around for like a cheerleader, a person to stand next to you, but you know that you have to let some of the toxic people go. But the
Mhm.
toxic people are the ones who always showed up for you. They were the ones who were there when you were doing bad. Oh, you lost your job? I got you. Oh, you lost your boyfriend? I got you. Oh,
Mhm.
you lost your house? I got you. But when you start to win and your light starts turning into a halo, and I don't mean a halo, I mean that light that shines from behind you and is pushing
Mhm.
forward,
Mhm.
that light is that's hard because it's going to irritate, it rubs other spirits the wrong way,
Mhm.
and it starts in their head because they can't hear your wins, they only hear bragging, they only hear what they lack, and
Mhm.
that sense of lacking is what causes them to then start to try to like trash your name. They start, oh, they're not doing that well. They're not that great. No, they don't even talk. They're not here to help us. They're only there for themselves,
Mhm.
which then as a human being, as a person, you're like, yo, what did I do to you?
Mhm.
What did, like, let me get this story straight. you, me, I can't even, like, your brain can't wrap around what's happening. And I feel like that switch, that light that you have that irritates other people's spirit, but it absolutely is a magnet for the people who really need you. And it's sad that it's not always like, blood isn't the people who usually are attracted to you. They're the people who repel because they want to know you. They want to know you for the person that they want to see you for the person they've created in their head, not for who you are right now.
That part. That part. Oh my gosh, that part. I remember growing up, my mom would say, just like your dad. And I'm not gonna, I do look like him, but my dad was abusive. So you're
Ooh.
telling me the person that punched me in my mouth when I was a kid, you're telling me the person that sexually assaulted me as a kid, I look like him. That does not make me the person that beats you and hits you and throws you downstairs. You're telling me every day I look like him. So in my head, I'm thinking you hate me now because you're saying I look like your abuser. You know, and so as a child, you're growing up like, and I would say, I don't want to be like him. So I actually prayed when I was little. I said, God, don't make me like my father. I don't want to be like him. And I remember saying as a little kid, and I always used to pray, even as an adult, God, I don't want to be like him. Because, you know, DNA is strong.
Yes, it is.
And people don't understand that there are generational ties and things that
You
come
can't
through the
break
blood.
it. Yes.
Yeah. And so I remember praying as a kid, I don't want to be like him. I didn't want to be an abuser. I don't want to be a manipulator, you know. And then as I got older, I seen her for who she really was. And I was, I don't be like her either. God make me somebody new. You know, God, do a new
Make
thing
me in the
in
light
me.
that you wanted me to walk in, please.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I had to do, you know, but it was tough. And even now I'm like, well, it's because I look like him. What she did. I don't look like none of them. So me and my sister have different dads. I don't look like none of like it's like 90 day. I look nothing like the rest of them. And growing up, they would always say, you think you're pretty because you light skin. Like, what is wrong with y'all? We're the only people that do that to each other.
Oh,
But you
oh,
I never understood that, but because I was lighter, I was treated differently. Because my hair was a bit back. Again, stupid stuff. We're still family, but it can make you grow up with this complex. And so I remember when I went to college, I had insurance, but I didn't. And I remember I had been through so much trauma and abuse. I tried to and this is a sincere, open, transparent moment. I tried to commit suicide.
been there.
And I remember calling my mom. Her words to me on the phone when I was crying, like, Mom, I'm tired of hurting. No one wants me. I got embarrassed by the guy who's supposed to be my boyfriend. He embarrassed me, laughed at me in front of everybody because my face had swollen on so bad. And I had an abscess. It was really bad. And I had to walk around school like that. I couldn't open my mouth. I was just so much pain. And I called her. I said, I'm just going to end it all. She tells me, go ahead. You have $1 million insurance policy. That night, I took a bunch of pills, and God had my friend, who was my roommate at the time, there. She was like, no, I'm not leaving you. So she took my stuff. She stayed with me. And it's the grace of God that I am here. You don't tell someone, oh, you got an insurance policy. Go ahead, do it. I'm like, I would. And I told that was not a joke. I called you for help and you laughed and said you was going shopping. You know, and so part of me was like, maybe she thought I was joking, but I was. And we have to be careful when people reach out to us for help.
Yes.
How we respond, because you don't know the mental state of that person. And I was a believer. Let's get this right. I think religion makes you think that you're perfect because you're a Christian or whatever you are. No, I'm still human. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus, but I'm still going through a human experience.
Yes.
We still get sad. And so we have to stop expecting people to want to be perfect because we're not perfect. And that's why I love working with everybody. And so when I see someone that maybe lived a lifestyle I don't agree with, I know something led them there. Something happened in their life that led that woman to want to sleep with people for money. Whether it's her lack of being able to find a good job, whether her husband or lover left her with the kid and she's trying to do the best she can, or either he's out here living a double lifestyle because trauma happened to him. He don't know what else to do. And so my heart for people is like, you know, I don't know what happened, but I'm here for you. And I think more people should have that heart posture that it could be me. And you never know what led that person down that path, but your positivity, you reaching out, you being an olive branch could change that person's life. And so my prayer daily is let your light shine through me that someone sees you. Being a kingdom isn't always about saying Jesus, Jesus. No, when I'm in business, I don't talk about Jesus. I'm in my professional scenery.
Yeah.
They know it's something different about me. And they're saying something different about you. I don't say nothing. I just say thank you.
Can't tell you what my gift is, baby. I can
Yeah,
only show it to you.
yeah, because I believe that your light should shine. So live your life in such a way that you represent him, whether it's showing up on time, whether it's being integral, whether it is being good to people that negatively hurt you and don't treat you right, but still you being respectful and doing the right thing, even when you don't want to. That's how we represent him. And then helping those who might you don't want to,
Yep.
but you know it's the right thing to do. That's kingdom. No matter how much money you give, it amounts to nothing if you mistreat people and leave people hanging.
Absolute. Listen, that was a word. Like that was a word because one, when you are out presenting yourself as such, you have to remember that we are spirits in these human bodies. All right. And there are days when your spirit doesn't set right with you.
Yes.
So the assumption that every day you're going to be this great, miraculous person, we all have times we fall. We fall down and we get up. It's a song for a reason. But also in understanding that a lot of the times the brokenness in you is mirrored with other people, things that need to be fixed in you. A lot of times when you're helping other people, they don't realize how much they're healing you. They don't understand that they're fixing a part of that broken 7-year-old, that broken 11-year-old. They're helping that 20-year-old that just got out of college and can't figure out what they're supposed to do. They're helping you not feel like that manic part of you that's still trying to look for approval, right? And we're in these different spaces, but learning how to accept people for where they are and be able to stand in that space. It's not easy. Nobody's pretending like it's easy. But what it does is that it makes a person feel acknowledged, heard, seen, wanted, so that they have, because even in your brokenness, you have feelings, wants, desires, and needs, period. And having somebody who can stand by you and know I may not fully understand what you're going through or why you made those decisions, but you're still a child of God. And if I am in his likeness and I know that I've been broken, how can I even stand here and judge your brokenness in any way? And that makes it makes you, I always say, it doesn't make you better. It makes you human. It makes you faithful. And that walk in faith, it looked different. It looked different because sometimes you be like, Lord, that's not funny. I don't want to do that. He'd be like, listen to me. You got about 5 more. I don't want to do that before I really turn your life upside down. You be like, what? All right, then. You look like a little kid. You just stomping off.
I don't want to do that, girl. Look, God don't tell me, look. I know you're going to complain, but you're going to do it. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you're going to get these words. Yeah.
I'd be in the car like, you don't even want to. He'd be like, listen, I gave you a vision.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to work it out. Either I'm going to force you to do it or you're going to walk into it. It's going to still be hard either way.
Sir, I had to sit there. When I tell you, so my book, Manna, I don't have it. Do I have it with me? I have a book called Manna for the Workplace. I wrote the book because I was going through so much hostility on my job. And I would put scriptures up on my wall in my office, and people would come in my office because they was going through welfare, and they would ask me for scripture what to do. And so God would not let me quit. People will say, you can make your own decision. When you're kingdom, you have to live a life that glorifies God and walk in obedience. I didn't see this part of my life where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But he told me not to quit. And it was so bad. This is the company I did a company picture. They said I was a team player because I wouldn't be rude and talk on top of people. It was just so much stupidity, and God would not let me quit. He said, do not leave. You got to be still. And this is when Mike Todd had that crazy faith episode. That's it. He made me sit in it. And I had to endure all the pain, all the embarrassment, all the humiliations, all the senior team walking past my office laughing, me trying to help people who were on the like lower tier, and then them going back and telling that I told that the managers were talking about them. Like, I would try to help people, give them a 411. They were going to snitch and say that LaShawnda said that you were talking about me. I'm like, What? Why would you do that? And so, now I see it led me to here because now I can show companies how to lead, create impact for leadership, and then how to give leaders the tools they need to show up the correct way, and then how to get rid of the leaders who are toxic. Because
Mm-hmm.
some companies have toxic leaders who are killing the organization. And so when you know this, let's do something about it so you can create a thriving workforce. And so when you were talking earlier about like the things we go through, so many leaders, CEOs, executives, supervisors are toxic. They've had trauma that they've never healed from. And that's why we need coaches. Every company should have access to coaches for their team members
Mm.
because you want them to show up on time. Sometimes they had a blowout tire and you're writing them up. How stressful is that? They got a nail in their tire and you're writing them up and making them stay over makeup time. They can't function. And so when we think about the trauma and other things that affect us in our role, even our businesses, how do we show up authentically in our best self if we don't have the necessary support, i.e., coaches, trauma-informed therapists, even having mental health counselors? One of the companies I worked for, we had access to coaching.
Yeah.
And that was the best ever. I would take my lunch break and go sit every day with a coach or a therapist and talk to them about my problems or issues and things I had impacting my work or my personal life. And because of that, I was able to lose weight. I was able to think clearly and perform at my best self.
I love that. And what I will say that what I love about coaches, not just coaching, but
Mhm.
coaches, the proper coach is like it's like a teacher, right?
Yeah.
You hate this subject. I can't stand this subject. And you get the right teacher
Mhm.
and they see something in you, they light a spark in you, and then they start forcing you to look at yourself.
Ooh,
Because
that's that part.
a big part of coaching, mentoring, and therapy is you having to look inward. Okay. So
Yes,
like I statements. Why is this happening to me? Yes. But what am I doing for myself to help me be better? Am
Mhm.
I victimizing myself over and over again?
Mhm.
Am I stuck in this space? Have I not, like you said, have I not dealt with some trauma? And
Mhm.
I promise you, dealing with your trauma, going through the grief of your trauma,
Mhm.
it is not for the weak. All right.
Mhm.
And what
Mhm.
I'm telling you is you're gonna feel weak. You're gonna feel like I want to burn it down with me in it.
Yes.
But the coming on the other side is your understanding, your
Mhm.
comprehension skills, your communication skills, you being able to articulate other people's, they're gonna give you their thoughts. You're gonna
Mhm.
be able to download those suckers. So this is what you said to me.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, well, when you talk to somebody, this is how you need to say it because what you're saying, it's too emotional or it doesn't lack it or it lacks enough emotion. You
Yeah.
got to meet somewhere in the middle. And that to me, when you talk to coaches,
Mhm.
that third eye, that mirror they turn back on you
Mhm.
because you be like, and nobody loves me. And then they be like, do you love you? Who are you talking to? I thought you was here for me.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's how I learned that my mom was toxic. I was in a therapy. I was in actually talking to my coach at work, and she said, weekly, I've been taking notes. And she said, it seems like your mom has control of you. It seems like she's always controlled you. Do you not see the pattern? I'm like, no, she doesn't. She loves me. So then she starts going back and reading notes to me.
You're like, who you talking to?
Yeah, and at that moment, I said, "Oh my gosh, she has controlled me my entire life." And now that I'm realizing I have boundaries in place, now that I'm saying no, it's a problem. So long as she had control of me, oh, I was the best thing ever. And so, because of my coach, I was able to see that, and I believe that God allowed her to show it to me, but I didn't know it. But I found out sitting in her chair, and she says she controls you. And I think for me, and this is for everybody, put boundaries in place and stick to those boundaries. No matter who it is, you should have boundaries for yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
for those who are attached to you, and even people you're considering have a relationship with, have boundaries.
Absolutely.
Like these are no breakers. I do not do last minute meetings. If you want to meet with me, put it on my calendar. It's not on my calendar beforehand. It didn't happen. Do not throw last minute calendar meetings and say we're going to meet today. No, we are not. I have obligations, and stick to that. And I tell my clients that. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, well I have to meet." No, you don't.
You know?
You are scheduled to work from 8 to 5. So if they were to have a 6 o'clock meeting, you're not getting paid for it, you are not staying. Let them know you have other activities that were already planned, and stick to that. People will respect your boundaries if you respect your boundaries.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
the self boundaries are
Mhm.
so huge
Yeah.
because how you treat yourself, how you talk about yourself, the
Mhm.
way you carry yourself, and the things that you allow into your life,
Mhm.
that's the reflection that other people see. They don't see how hard you're working on yourself in your head. They don't know what's happening behind your eyes. They only see how you live out loud. And
Mhm.
when you live out loud and it looks chaotic and it looks like you are allowing people to walk over you, people who talk over you, when you are always the go-to person. Every time you turn around, like somebody's calling your name in the middle of helping somebody else, you turn around and you're helping them, and then you turn around. It's like,
That was me. That
you
was
know,
me a long time ago. That was me.
they said,
I'm it.
I can just play on your heartstrings. You just go and do
Mhm.
whatever.
Yep.
Because the thing is that people who pray for, I always tell people, it is so huge to me. Watch who's praying for you. There are good prayers and there are bad prayers
Ooh, I had to learn it the hard way. Yeah.
on
Mhm.
you, and you will become praying. You got to pay attention to that.
That's
Woo!
that's true though. It's true. This is good and actually ties into the DEIB because when we talk about the belonging piece you spoke on earlier, being seen, being heard, being supported, that belonging piece is so important. And this is not just for corporations. This is for us personally.
Yes.
You should feel like you belong when you go to a networking event. How many of us have been to a networking event, whether it's corporate or even at church or at a family reunion, and you do not feel like you belong?
Mm-hmm.
You want to leave.
Yes.
And so even in our families, we have to create that belonging environment. And then we have the accessibility, which is DEIA. Is there a wheelchair ramp when you're having a family reunion? Are there activities for people who may be blind and impaired? And
Mm-hmm.
so making sure that, again, everyone feels seen, support, have what they need. And then if someone tells you it's offensive, believe them, make the necessary adjustment instead of getting offended.
Yes.
Ask to understand. And one of the easiest thing to say is, "Oh, can you explain further? Oh, I didn't mean to. Can you help me to understand?" Because you want to try to understand their point of view instead of getting offensive, say, "Oh, well, you got an attitude." No, I didn't know. I'm trying to learn more. Can you help me to understand? And that's a good way. A lot of times we want to pop off like, "Oh, she touched my hair," and they may say there have been times people have said some derogatory comments about ethnic hair.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of being offensive, oh no, she didn't, taking off your earrings, just say, hey, let's have a conversation about this. I would love to understand your frame of thought.
Yeah.
And that allows them to explain why they thought it was okay to touch your hair or why they think that your hair can bounce off water. And you can explain your culture to them
Yes.
because social media does a bad job of explaining and uniting cultures and helping people to understand different diversities. And so that's our job then to come and explain and give them inclusion to who we are and then what it's like to be in our shoes. So sometimes people just don't know.
That's so true. And understand that we were having a conversation offline and we were talking about DEI, right? And I always tell people, if your idea of DEI is just black and white, you are missing the meat of it. You're missing the understanding of it, right? I said, because for me, all right, when I hear diversity, it is when they say the reading rainbow, like back in the day when we were younger, you would have like the rainbow and you would have all the colors, right? You would have all the colors on the rainbow. And it would be the little kids, so like the little cutouts of like the gingerbread man, right? And it would be like this big and it had
Oh.
everything under the rainbow.
Mhm.
And even though that wasn't inclusive, because inclusive is a person who may be blind, However, it may be a person who is only 50% blind. It may be a
Mm-hmm.
person who is completely blind. It may
Yep.
be a person who can only see certain colors. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much nuance within each diverse
Yes.
inclusion, equity. It's so different.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that, yes, you may have a white gentleman who works for you. Diversity is the white guy is a gay gentleman, or you're part of the LGBTQ community, or
Mm-hmm.
he may also be a person who is neurodivergent. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
all of these little spaces, and it's the most interesting thing about DEI is that it, in order to make people feel included, it's literally 3 or 4 steps. It's not even like this world shattering. I mean, yes, if you have to build a wheelchair ramp and
Yeah.
you don't have the money, I totally understand that. However, when we're thinking about bringing people in, if you are a church and you're talking about everybody's included, come as you are. If I'm in a wheelchair or if I'm in a walker, walking up your steps isn't that's not my option.
Yes. Yes. There
So,
you
like,
go.
those things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, girl, you've hit it. You've hit it out the ballpark, and that is so true. And so, even looking at like genders, like the she, the they, and then it's so many. And so,
Mhm.
one thing companies, and I tell companies all the time, learn them. In your company, you should have a poster that talks about the different gender, like gender, because genderism is a thing. And
Mhm.
so, you want to be respectful, but also, I believe it goes both ways.
Yeah.
You shouldn't try to force me to say something that I don't agree with either. And so there has to be respect on both parts. And so what does that look like? It's okay to agree to disagree. I don't have to argue with you. You don't have to argue with me. We don't even have to talk to each other. But the issue comes in when we both want to be right. You're going
Yeah.
to call me Sarah, but you look like Bob. Okay, well, just don't say nothing at all. Just mind your business. Is it so hard to mind your business? Or if you have to approach, if she wants to be called Sarah, call her Sarah. It's not going to kill you. And if it does, just don't say nothing at all. For some reason, we feel the need to want to force people
Yes.
to do what we want. And that's the issue I have on both parts.
Mhm.
Neither part should be forcing anybody to say anything. Like, honestly, personally, I'm not going to say nothing I don't agree with. I'm just not. I will decide to not entertain stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard erogenous conversations about people of color. And I'm not going to entertain those. I'll just walk away. I'm not going to argue with you. I did not come from a gorilla.
Yeah.
I'm not going to entertain this stupid conversation. I'm just going to walk away because
Yeah.
there's no point.
Because you're not even talking to me. Like,
You're
this
not
is one of my
talking to
favorite.
me, and
This is
you're
one of
on
my
Mars
favorite.
somewhere. So I'm just not. And I think we have to get to the time where we know when to be quiet and walk away. And then what is worth our energy? What will you gain from this conversation? If you're not winning, gaining something, it's not making your life better. What is the point?
But you tapped on something that made me really, when you bring your home environment to work,
Mhm.
right? Because, and this is what I always think to myself, when somebody says something derogatory, and I know that we've had training, we've had coaches, we've had mentors, and you just refuse to accept that.
Mhm.
Now I have to accept that this is just who you are.
Yes.
I have to get past myself of
Mhm.
thinking of everybody is the cup half full.
Yeah.
Some cups aren't full. Some cups, they don't even have water in them. Okay. But you have to let that be, and you have to realize that that's not the space for you to try to
Mhm.
fix it. This isn't your energy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times we try to meet everybody and on the frequency that they are. And sometimes when you are walking in your purpose, that energy is not low. It is always beaming. You be sleep. You like, I need to go to sleep, wake up at 3 a.m, have to write what's in your head down, go
Mhm.
back to sleep. But
Mhm.
when you are trying to fit into spaces that don't belong to you, you're
Mhm.
trying to hand out blessings that weren't for you to give out.
There you go.
You wind up in empty spaces.
Ooh, that's a whole nother episode. And that's in our careers. Let's be honest. How many people have hired all these business coaches? Every time something new comes out, oh, I have the formula. You're gonna make 10,000 in 30 days. And so we jump for these tactics, but knowing in our heart, we don't really want to do this. We don't really want to buy this new system. We don't want to learn this new process. It's not who we are.
Mhm.
But what do? We hear it and we want to jump for it because it's new. It's that shiny light syndrome, that we talk about. And so it's really about, what do I want to gain from this? Does this make sense to me? Does this align with who I am and where I'm going? If it does not, it is a hard no. And it is okay. So I've told so many people, no, thank you. I get so many inboxes. Hey, I got this new system. Thank you, but I'm not interested. And I would say that real quick because I am focused on a certain thing right now. We're budgeting, we're building a AI tool for companies. And so I have to be lean right now. So my no game is real strong. Thank you for reaching out, but no, thank you. We're not interested. And so if they want to keep nagging me, I will block them.
I love a block. I will block you in real life.
I will
Right while
block
you talking to
you.
me, my brain will be like, they don't even exist anymore.
They don't. But I would do it real nicely. First, I'm going to say, no, thank you. Thanks for reaching out. But if you keep antagonizing me, now I'm blocking you. Because I've told you, no. And I think, again, we have to start trying to force people to our will. You can't make me buy anything. I'm not an impulse buyer.
No,
I never buy on the spot. By the time, when I go buy a vehicle, I've already researched it. I've driven it a couple times possibly, and I've looked at other options to see I'm getting the best deal. Some people, they are impulse. That's not me.
Yeah.
My background is in analytics. I be a data analyst and I'm a business analyst. So I'm analyzing. I'm a detail person. So baby, I've done my research before I show up. And so I'm a hard pass if I'm not interested. And you can't change my mind.
My husband used to tell people, we would go into the dealership and he'd be like, don't talk to my wife. And people used to think that it was like him trying to be rude. He said, no, you don't understand. She knows what she wants.
There you go.
Go at her, she's gonna shut you out. And then we're gonna be back in this car. And he's like, I can't get back in the car without a car. And I remember it was a sales guy, and he was like, one of those big bravado, he walked over to me and I'm like looking at a car and I'm just looking at the car because in my head, I'm like picturing myself. Do I want this color? Is this the color? And he was like, it has so many nice mirrors. And you know how when you can feel, when you are now, like your spirit drops in front of you and it looks at you and goes, you are about to. And I just turned and I said, so I need you to understand a couple things. I don't give two shits about your mirrors. Okay? All cars have mirrors. What I want to know is about the engine. What I want to know is about the gas mileage. I want to know how many times has this car been recalled. I want to know what you guys are going to do about a warranty. But because you told me about mirrors, I'm going to get in my car with mirrors and I'm going to leave. And he said, Baba,
with the mirrors.
And my husband just looks across at me and was like, and just like we start walking to the car. Dude, what did you do? Like, you had one job to do, was to leave her alone. And the manager runs out and he was like, I'll take him off. I said, no. I said, because this is the environment.
Yeah.
I said, because I'm a woman, the assumption is that beauty aesthetics is what I'm looking for. I'm like, I got 3 kids. If something happens to my children in your car and I get out of this car, I am going to drive through these windows. Like, my kids are so important to me. Those are my lifelines. You're not going to destroy them. I want to see them grow and become beautiful spirits that walk this earth and do great things for themselves. And you're not going to mess that up. And they were like, I said, no.
He said mirrors. I'm like, he said mirrors. Oh my God, mirrors?
Mirrors.
What?
I mean, not even like a backup camera. Like, no. Mirrors.
And then the issue is he didn't see nothing wrong with that. So that's what I train on your conversation, like your mannerism, the conversation you're doing are inappropriate, and then how to recognize. Like somewhere somebody told him that was okay.
Yes, and that's why I left the whole establishment, because when, again, when we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Women drive cars.
Yeah.
Women fix cars.
Yeah.
Women, they build cars.
Mm-hmm.
Women know about cars. So
Mm-hmm.
the assumption that all I knew about a car was the mirrors. Now I'm looking around at everybody now, because I'm looking at all the people who are talking to other women, thinking to myself, what other person made another woman feel bad about herself because she may not have known about this, who didn't make her feel comfortable, who now she feels like the predator is coming after her and she has to make this rush decision. But I'm like, it's your money, babes.
Yeah.
This is your signature will pay their bills.
Oh yeah.
So why? No, the balls are you are the winner because you can afford to come in here and get a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that emotional intelligence we talk about, like it's that self-awareness, that social responsibility and social work. That is so important. And it's shocking how many people actually lack it. And because like I've been avoiding training on emotional intelligence because it's been around for so long, but I'm learning.
I do it. You have to do it.
Yeah, and I do it. So believe it or not, I actually start with my kids because one of my sons, I have three amazing kids. One of them, I have three boys, and one of them, he don't believe in thinking. He just react. Like he's the one that will wait for you around a corner and then think about it after the fact. I'm like, can't do that. So I started working with him. I pulled out my strength finder. I put up my emotion and I made him read it. And so when he would read, I would ask him, he had to tell me what he read.
Yeah.
And so during the process, he would say, oh, I see now. So he began to see areas he needed to improve with his emotions. And now he thinks things through. He told me yesterday, he said, Ma, I don't really talk to people anymore. He said, I go to school, people think something's wrong with me. He said, but I'm quiet now. I sit back and observe. And so it is changing how he operates, how he sees people, how he builds relationships, and how he views himself.
Yes.
And so I think as parents, we also want to learn about emotional intelligence, but also teach our children because one day they will become adults. And as parents, some of us are in denial. You know your child is loud. You know your child is breaking stuff. Do something about it while you can.
Wow.
Find out what's going on with your child. My child was being bullied. He's been bullied for years in middle school and nobody did anything. Now, remember, he told me, my husband, he said it would not happen again. He said, I promise I'm never going to feel this way again. And guess what? He made sure and it happened again. If you don't look at him wrong, he's chasing you, but because of his being bullied, the principals never did because they understood what led him to this point.
Yeah.
And I told him this cannot be your path because you'll end up in prison or you end up in jail or you end up dead.
Yep.
And so we began to do the hard work on him because I said, no matter where we send you, if you don't work on yourself, you will end up in these dire situations. And so he began to work on himself so that he can attract better people and put himself in better situations. As parents, we've got to do that as well.
Absolutely. You have to open up your eyes, right? And because we all have toxic traits. We all have things that we need to work on. Like this whole perfection, there's no perfect family. There's no
no.
We don't even exist in that world. But really, honestly, this is all what I love about being a parent is watching your child become themselves, right? And understanding that trauma affects how your child becomes themselves. Decisions affect how they become themselves. Friendships, the connections, those nasty soul ties that sometimes we just trauma bond so well, and all of us get stuck in those spaces. And it's really hard to detach yourself once you invest your emotional time into these spaces. But saying, hey, I see you and I'm not going to let you, I'm not on my watch. Now, if I'm not here and I can't see it, I can't do anything about it. But on my watch, what we're going to do is we're going to work on this.
That part.
Work on me. You're going to work on you. I want you to know that this isn't me telling you what to do. It's we telling each other how to fix this. So what about me that saw that in you and said, oh, it's not that bad? And then what about you that saw it in me and said, oh, I can do that. So let's work on that.
And that's what we do. So in our home, we have town halls. We all get together and we talk about what can we do better. Sometimes, and so the rule in our house is you can say what you want to say, but it has to be respectful.
Absolutely.
We
I
don't
love it.
have to agree, but we believe you should be able to communicate your emotions, how you feeling, even how we discipline. We ask our kids, you think we went too far? What you think about it? And they'll tell us, like,
Yeah.
mom, mom, I thought you went too harsh, or and
Everything's too
a lot of
hard, mom.
yeah, and a lot of times they're saying, mom, no, I deserved it. I did XYZ. So they are self-aware as to why. We're not one of those parents that just go to your room, take your phone, and don't tell them. We tell you why you're
Yeah.
punished. We tell you why you're not going out with your friends. Because we want you to understand cause and effect. And I think if more parents have those healthy conversations, it makes things better. And we ask our children, what can we do better? We ask each other, what can we do better?
Yes.
Because with me growing up, I went through so much abuse that I couldn't tell nobody. And
Mm,
then when I did tell, they made it feel like it was my fault.
yep.
So I said it would never happen to my children. I want my children to know what a bad touch is. I want my children to come to me no matter who, if it's a dad, a mom, a sister, I don't care who. We open the door for to have conversation on everything. And sometimes they tell us stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to know.
Girl, they will fry your ears off. You be like, what? But then you got to realize, let me school my face because they're not going to come back. How I'm going
Thank
to act right
you.
now.
Yeah, and the good thing is that they talk to us. My oldest son is in college. And he tells my husband and me a lot of stuff that a lot of parents probably don't hear from their kids. But the door is open and all our kids tell us things because we have that open relationship. But see, by having that openness, if somebody ever touches them, they'll tell us. If they feel I remember my son was in middle school. He said, "Mom, I'm depressed." He sat in the back seat and cried.
Mm,
He said, "I feel depressed." And you know how hard that is for a little child? And my other
yes.
son told me that in elementary school, he was depressed.
Yes.
And one of them said he wanted to kill himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember as a parent, I said, not on my watch. W can't have my kids. Number two, not on my watch. What can we do?
What can we
So
do?
I made sure to open communication. So now we talk about everything. Hey, how are you doing at school? What can we do better? What do you need? Because every child is different. And so
Yes.
what works for one child doesn't work for the other. And that's the problem with parenting and even with being a leader in a company. You can't lead every person the same. You
Yes.
can't give everyone the same rule of thumb because some people are neurodivergent. They
Mm-hmm.
have ADD, they have different things going on. And so you have to tailor their
Yes.
plan based off who they are. And that's how we become a more equal society because you treat people with the respect that they need based off where they are at in life. And
Yes.
so that's my little personal spiel, about me as a parent, because I love my children and I really want them to avoid the trauma that I experienced, but I want them to be successful, healthy young
Yes.
Black men.
Yes. And you know what? And I have two girls, one boy.
Mhm.
And that the rule in my house was tell me when I'm wrong.
Yep,
Right?
that too.
Because there are going to be times where I say something and okay, so tell mommy what's happening.
Mhm.
And my big rule was when they were younger, I lucked up and had family that could help,
Mhm.
but my children didn't go spend a night at anybody's house. They
Oh
didn't
no.
until you could tell
Mm-mm.
me with your words
Mhm.
your body parts. We didn't have no parts and good part. No, no, no. What
Mhm.
you scientifically, what part of your body? Tell me what's
Yeah.
going on. And we've had open conversations, and I'm with you. Sometimes my eyebrows fell off. I'm like, oh wow. But you know what? I promise you, the conversations that your children have with you, other parents wish
Mhm.
that they had that open access.
Mhm.
And yes, sometimes I mean your partner has told you stories that made you go, oh, babes, that's a lot. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So like your children are human beings. They aren't little yous. They
Mhm.
are themselves. They are
Yes.
individual creatures that were created with yourself and
Mhm.
God and your husband, and they're here. And you
Mhm.
have to nurture, like you said, each person has their own nuances, their own
Mhm.
characteristics. All three kids grew up in the same house and all of them got different experience, different
Mhm.
moms at different times, healthier moms, not so healthier moms, healthier dads,
Mhm.
not so healthier dads, and
Mhm.
in that space where you expect all of them to have like they're not supposed to be duplicates of each other.
Yep. And we teach
Even
them about
twins aren't the
diversity.
same.
And so we teach them about diversity because I am a DEI practitioner. And so sometimes they may say something and I say, that's offensive.
Yeah,
And I'll tell them, if you say this in school, you get suspended.
yeah,
Now, one thing I will never allow is anybody to silence their views.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe they should stand firm in their faith, and they
Yeah.
do. I had a teacher that was trying to make them put barrettes on in a dress. That's what we're not going to do. You're not going to try to turn my kid to somebody else. And my son told her, I'm a boy. I do not wear barrettes in my hair and I don't wear a dress. And
Mm-hmm.
she tried to force him and try to send him to the office. And I told the principal, my son has a right to say no if he doesn't want to. And I said, if we wanted him to wear a dress, we would have gave him one.
Yeah.
So we would take this to the board if you keep trying to force my son to do something that he doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
And so I think as parents, we have to give our kids the support to stand firm on who they are instead of wanting them to do whatever an adult says, because that's how it leads to pressure. It leads to letting people control them. And
And
so no.
predators.
Yeah, predators, because you're letting them say no. Our kids don't, they didn't go to people's house either. They matter if they don't go to people's house.
They
You
still
know,
don't. My kids still home and they like, I'm not going nowhere.
yeah, they don't go to people's house like that. They don't sit on people's laps. And we've always told them, if you get that funny feeling in your tummy, let us know. We're gonna leave. We don't care who it is.
Yeah, look, I tell people all the time, when my children said they didn't like you, we didn't like you. And I don't even know, I mean, because, now, yes, that's extreme. And sometimes you had to be like, babe, why don't you like them? Because they didn't give you extra goldfish. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not a valid reason. But there are times where I really, truly believe when a kid looks at somebody,
Mhm.
they see them 100% for who they are.
Mhm.
There's no buy. They're not out here. They don't know that you have a job. They don't know that you have a wife. They don't know that they just know your spirit. And when
Mhm.
your spirit doesn't attract, when kids can't figure out how to connect with you, when you make a child feel scared, I'm not talking about Mr. John with the bald head and he's tall. Like, no, we're not talking about that. But
Yeah.
there's sometimes when your children will turn around to you and be like, Mommy, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. I don't feel comfortable. And when you say, oh, you're gonna be comfortable, you're just acting out, you literally put them down. And that's a memory in their head now. That's a
That
core
happened to
memory.
me. It happened to me so many times. It made me sit there. The people would come to my grandmother, and this old man would do like, he would kiss me and do all type of weird stuff. And I would say, Grandma, I don't like it. Be quiet, girl. Be quiet. He ain't doing nothing to you. And so you begin to think it's okay for people to do stuff to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I said. My kids would never, if I can help it, feel powerless. Because that's what it takes your power from you.
Yes.
You know, that's how women end up, and men, because let's be honest, men get abused too. And it's not talked about enough. I remember I worked at a substance abuse. I worked at a domestic violence shelter, and there were men who were getting abused by their wives.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't tell nobody because people would laugh because they couldn't believe they were getting abused by their wives. And so they suffered in silence.
Yes. And they wind up committing suicide, becoming drunk,
suicide, or becoming
and wind up in jail.
Yep. Or if they get out of the relationship, they now do it to the next person because they say it's never gonna happen to me again.
Before you get me, I'm gonna get you.
You know, and so we have got, and that's why I believe there should be equality for both. We have so many things for women. What about the men?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of men who are going through job losses, trauma. They want to upskill. We don't see that a lot. And so one thing that I do, I work with women and men.
Yes.
Because I believe if we all work together, we can create a better today so tomorrow is even brighter. But we can't eliminate one for the other. How can we pour into both communities so that they all can together become one? And that's what we have to work on, because the young Black boys and brown boys and Asians and Caucasian, all of us together make up America. It's not one over the other. It's so many different ethnicities. Everyone should have equal opportunity to grow, to learn, and feel supportive in their community and abroad.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more.
Oh my gosh, it's 8:31. We have been talking for like what, an hour and a half?
Yes. No, seriously, I think that, like, one, I love conversations like this. One. Two, there's so many points that have been made. Therapy for Black men. Therapyforblackmen.org is a great space for Black men to go to and talk about that, because they commit suicide in such alarming rates. And men who are over 80 are the highest have the highest rate of suicide, veterans as well. And it's just, it's sad and it's crazy, because we need them as much as they need us. And I so agree with you. I could not agree with you more about parenting. It's interesting, like yes, today is the first time we spoke to each other, but I know we spoke to each other in another life because we're literally walking parallel in the same way. Parenting style, how we see the world, people that we want to help, and growing for ourselves. Like as people, we're still growing and understanding who we are and understanding how those things that broke us are also the things that keep healing us. And we just have to flip the script. We change the way the mirror faces so that we can become better versions of us. And I could not have enjoyed this podcast more. You
Me
girl,
too.
you out here, look at you.
This has been a highlight. Look, we should have did this sooner. This is
We didn't know.
we didn't know, but we're gonna get together again because this was amazing. We
All it
did
means
part
is
two.
that I was gonna say all it means is that we gotta talk again. Because we haven't even gotten into your tech mentoring or the fact that you are the VP of the Blacks in Technology. We didn't even get to that. Listen, this woman is doing things. I told y'all, she said diversity. Hold my jacket. I said, I'm gonna go sit in the corner and just cheer her on. Yes, baby. Yes. I so enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I really
You're welcome. So you kind of bring me back for part two as we get into the tech. The
yes.
tech.
You know I'm gonna do it, you know? Like now you stuck with me and you wanted a crazy friend. You got a crazy friend.
Sounds good. So now I can add you to my podcast and my show because I'm gonna start doing Leadership Unveiled Fridays on LinkedIn.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna start bringing people on. I would love to have you on to talk about your journey and things of that nature. Yep.
Look, it'll be me with hair or no hair. You know, it just
It's okay. It's okay. Oh gosh, this has been a highlight of my day. I don't know. Take us home. I don't know. It's your show.
Thank you guys so much for being a part of this podcast. We love that you guys are here. We want to encourage, we want to help with healing. We want to watch you on your journey. We want to cheer for you on your journey. And we can't wait to see you next time. So bye, guys. Hey, guys. So did you enjoy the podcast? She was dropping some gems. All right. I was thinking to myself, what? Why are we so connected? Like, every time she said something, I felt like my eyeballs got bigger because I was like, me too. Just the alignment of how we see people, business ethics, how we're talking about and raising our children and our families, the connections and the love that we have for our families, how that extends out, and how we're turning trauma into some of the best healing work that we can do. Because my goodness, when you can turn your trauma into triumph, you can change a lot of lives, including your own. It's so beautiful. We thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. Please like, subscribe, follow, send a pigeon with a message, and we will answer it. Promise. And remember, we're learning to articulate our feelings, wants, needs, and desires so we can better advocate for ourselves and the people around us, because it's so important. Be the person that's standing behind them, like hyping them up. Hype your bestie up. Hype your bestie up. Y'all be good. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.